Holy shnikes. Guess this garden is gonna produce something else. This cauliflower has not been doing anything. I have 6 plants and I had 2 plants that produced flowers, but they were yellow and they got this moldy looking stuff on them right away. So I didn't really get anything from them. They kind of look like this, which I think it looks like this because I didn't cut it early enough. But look at this one. Yeah, this one is like a perfect piece of cauliflower. I'm gonna break these leaves off and break this out of here. But that's sweet. I'm gonna eat that with dinner tonight. Another bonus, you can barely see them growing in there. There's some carrots. That one's a pretty good one. I pulled a bunch of them earlier in the season, but these ones were all the small ones. They're pretty much filling in, so over the next couple weeks I'll eat those slowly and get them cleaned out. I'm gonna let the rest of this stuff go until the frost kills it. It looks nice, better than having the garden empty. Try to keep stuff in here as long as I can. Another couple weeks though, it'll freeze hard enough that even that kale will die. That Russian kale is hardy too. Well, busting green bean, bush bean seeds. Getting them all out of the casing. I can put them in a bag for next year. And that's what we got out of the garden today, which is not bad since it's a couple days of frost already. It's nice to still be getting stuff out of the garden. But yeah, I'm just gonna see how many seeds I can bust out of there. Should be able to fill that whole plate. Be more than enough for next year. The sun's going down. I get something to eat. Got some fried chicken on. Pretty excited about that. Gonna make a good dinner. Just unplugged the solar panel and took it out from the yard. Where that log is where it gets the best sun all day, so that's where I've been putting it. But it's right in the middle of the driveway. It's not really a great spot. So sometime in the next week and a half, I have to figure out a spot that is getting good sun and that is within like 20 feet of the cabin. Well, even the kale wilted out on me last night, but the sunflowers are pretty much dead. These green beans are definitely dead. Cauliflower lived, Brussels sprouts lived. Corn is pretty much done, which it didn't produce any corn. Sucks. Got lots of sunflower seeds for next year. Now look at this big mess of a hole. Look at this hole. This stump is going to involve a lot of digging, but I've pretty much cut all of the roots on this side. So I've made it to here. I gotta cut these roots out and keep on digging around, and then eventually I'll have all the roots cut back. And hopefully that thing will move, but I don't know, maybe it has like a 6-inch thick taproot right in the middle that's going all the way straight down. If that's the case, I don't know. Once I get it all dug out all the way down to that point, I might have to light a fire and burn it out, burn it to the ground. Alright, I had to delete Grand Theft Auto to make room because I left the house today without making room on my phone. We're on the red line, way out in the middle of the property. There's that thing right there. It says 1949. And then there's that thing in this tree right here, which I don't know if you can see that. It says Maine Land Survey 1929. Which that's pretty crazy. Maybe that 2 is supposed to be an 80. Maybe it's an 89. I don't know, it looks like a 2. It's carved pretty cleanly. But I don't know, I can't imagine. That cypress tree is over 100 years old? I don't know, I guess it is. It also would mean that it was cut and scored over 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, 90 years ago. So that's pretty crazy if that tree is that old. I don't know, maybe these cypress trees live a couple hundred years. They must. But this is the corner. So there's probably about a half a mile of walking just to get to this one turn. And whoop, y'all zoomed in. So I marked it another couple times. Of course, I didn't bring a marker out in the woods. I thought I had one in my pants, but I didn't, or either that or it was hooked onto the outside of my pants and one of the trees or bushes pulled it off, which is pretty likely. But anyways, I made it to this. I haven't made it this far on my property before, and this is definitely the corner. That's what this marks. And there's a survey thing there that says 1949. It was sticking out of this dead stump. And the area that was spray painted is the only thing that was left. Everything else on that tree fell over. But now I've made it to this corner, and it takes a sharp turn. And this sharp turn right here should lead us to the brook. And then if I walked the brook back up to the road, I would have walked my whole property. But 100 acres is a lot bigger than I thought. It's already taken me almost an hour and a half to get out to this point. You can see how thick it is. I went through some crossroad up here. It's like an animal crossroad. It was where all the animal trails came and crossed together. And there were hundreds of deer prints, there was hundreds of moose prints, and there were tons of moose piles of moose crap, and one of them was still steaming. It was so warm. At least it was when I went by it. It's kind of warmed up to the point where you wouldn't be able to see it steaming, but this morning when I head out, it was cold enough that you could literally see it steaming. So the big daddy moose is somewhere out here with me. But I got a shotgun with me, 12 gauge, with slugs in it. I also have it loaded up with slugs because it is bear season. I usually don't shoot bear, and I usually wouldn't shoot bear, but my neighbor's getting ready to set up a farm on his homestead next spring, and he does want us hunting bear to try to keep him out of his chicken coops. He's about to do some commercial type chickens over there. So I don't know, if I see a nice one, maybe I would shoot it. There's a guy up the road that processes them. I could probably do that, but I really would prefer not to shoot any of the bears. You know, I only shoot bears unless only when they're getting into the trash every night or like causing trouble. I don't really hunt bears. I've never eaten bear, so I don't know what it tastes like, but I'm not really interested in eating bear. A big bear skin could be useful for some things, but I wouldn't want to kill a bear for that. But anyways, I'm going to keep following this and try to walk the whole route around the property. I'm probably not even halfway yet, so I'm going to keep going. It's going to be a long walk. Alright, it's just like a wall of trees in front of me. I don't know if you can see it. There's like some blue dangles over there, a little bit of red. That's the red line we've been following. And I don't know what the heck happened. I can't see it anymore. It's so thick here though because the alders are coming up because it's wet, which means we're getting close to the brook. I actually think just through the woods here is where I had gotten to the last time I tried coming to this corner. And it was really wet over there. I can see the maple trees though that I was standing in last time. It's dry now because it hasn't rained since pretty much, it's only rained twice this whole summer. Driest year I've ever experienced in Maine. But it makes it so it's easy to travel out here. But this red line did kind of disappear, and I don't know if I want to just keep on heading towards the brook without having any kind of line to follow. In one direction, it's 11,000 acres of wildlife land. You don't want to get lost over there. And in the other direction, it's my 100 acres. I just passed a logging trail though that at one point they had worked all the way out here, and I know if I follow that, I think that's going to lead to my pond, to my little pond that I have out here in the middle of the property. So I think if I go that way, I could mark it the whole way with orange ribbon, and then I'd have a clear path back out to this spot. But I might want to wait until the leaves fall to try to go to the rest of this corner, because yeah, if I can't, with the leaves grown up like this, I can't see the red line. If I can't see the red line, I risk getting lost somewhere on the other side of it, which I have a compass, so I won't get like totally lost, but I might put myself in a position where it's a really hard 3 or 4 hour walk back home, which I don't really want to do right now. I'm wearing a jacket and I'm carrying all kinds of stuff, and it's getting heavy and hot. it's warming up to 70 degrees now, so it's not as cool as it was. Yeah, I'm gonna keep looking for this red line, but I might turn back and go head on that logging trail back home. Well, I wasn't sure where I just came out of the woods, but we're actually on my future shooting range. Gotta clear a couple trees left and there'll be a nice lane here for shooting. I am sweating bullets and I'm covered in debris. I got off course by a lot there. I ended up hitting the meadow, a bunch of wet places where the beavers had swamped out and I couldn't get through there. And then I tried going around it and then thought I was lost for a while there. Had to even pull out the compass just to make sure I was on the right track. Yeah, it was a hard trek, and I probably only got 300 yards past the corner. So I made it to one of my corners, but then you hit some open bog where there was some really deep waist deep water, and the beavers had some huts that are huge over there, like beaver compounds over there. That's still only halfway down my property, so it's a lot of land here, and it's really, really tough going. So I still didn't make it to that furthest corner of the property where the corner meets the brook. I was probably still had a half a mile to go, but for some reason that red blaze just stopped like a couple hundred yards past the corner. I guess it's because it was so wet there. Maybe they stopped and then maybe it starts again. But I have a feeling that it's just so wet there that they stopped marking it all the way to the brook. So that line on my back line that I thought was going to be marked with the red line might not be marked because of how wet it is back there. But yeah, when the leaves fall, we'll try to get out there again. Maybe we'll try to get out there with snowshoes this year. If I get really deep, high snowpack, I should be able to get out there with snowshoes really easily. But yeah, back at the property. It's been like a 6-hour hike, so I need to go get some food and get these clothes that are full of, I got pine needles all down my back. So man, this stuff is grown in. This was all clear. But this is going to be a clear lane all the way down to there. And we'll do a 50 and 100 yard markouts for the shooting range. But you can see I got a lot of debris. I got to remove all these small trees to clear this lane. As soon as the leaves fall, that's what we'll be doing, clearing land. Well, just made it back to the cabin. FedEx guy delivered coyotes. Just missed the bulk of it. Sounds like there's like 100 of them over there. They're all communicating. It's crazy. Rain last night. Yeah, that's too bad. It looks like he took off. Heard some tromping on the driveway. And I went to go grab the camera. Well, actually, I heard a tromping on the driveway. So I came out. Hear a car coming down the road. This is the time of the day when people are going to work. So it's like the busiest time of the day on the road. But I look out the window and I could see some moose legs standing in the driveway. So I came out here and looked. And there was a giant male elder moose. Fully grown, 1,800 pounds about. And his rack was all messed up and gnarly. And he had a lot of gray hair on him. I don't think I've ever seen a moose that looked that old. Really wise looking moose. This car going by. I don't know, one of the neighbors. I don't know all the neighbors yet, but I'm not sure who that was. Yeah, so as soon as I turned to go get the camera though, he went barreling through the woods. It's too bad, I wanted to get a picture of him. He was like right here in the driveway. He's like standing right next to that wood cutting setup. He was huge, but his legs were completely white. Like he had gray and white hair all over him, but his legs were completely white, and they were kind of spotted at the top. And then at the bottom, and in the middle and the bottom, they were completely white. I never seen a moose with that pattern before, but I think that's just because he's a really old guy. I've seen an albino moose where the whole thing is white in Canada, but I think those are really, really, really rare. So I don't think he was an albino. I think he's just so old that his hairs are turning white and gray. He's in the bush there somewhere. I don't want to go looking for him. It's mating season, so I think he can get angry pretty easily. It rained last night. Looks like it's going to clear up today. I said it was going to rain all day today, but it looks like the blue skies are coming through. It wasn't that cold last night. We had 3 days of frost before last night, but the raining weather kept the frost off. So I gotta cut some wood today, as usual. Well, still digging this big bastard out and cutting roots, but I hit it with a sledgehammer and it's still hardly even moving. Eventually it'll get to a point when you hit it with a sledgehammer, all this dirt starts flying off of it and away, and you'll be able to see more of the roots and which direction they're going. But it's not even budging at all, and I've cut so many roots out around this thing already. Yeah, so I'm just still digging. I have a feeling like right here it's still connected real deep, so I'll have to keep cutting roots back and keep digging in that direction. And then there's another spot over there that I think it has the same thing kind of going, but I think the bulk of the taproot is going in this direction, so I think there's like stuff all down here. So yeah, I'm still digging this, but I gotta go and fill the old latrine hole that I've been using for the last month and a half, and I gotta dig a winter hole that has a cover on it, so I can use that for dumping all winter. And I'm gonna make another one for fall that I'm gonna just use right now, and I'll use for a couple months. But the winter hole has to be really deep, and then I have a wood cover for it. And if it's deep enough, even if it's freezing outside, the bottom of the hole will have drainage and stuff. And the winter hole, I put a little lye in too throughout the season, because the winter hole, I basically use the same hole for all 6 months of winter. It doesn't really smell that bad because it's cold and everything's frozen, but still put a little lye in there to help break it down, and then when I cover that up in spring, you know, that 6 months worth of dumping will just biodegrade really quick and become part of the property. So that's what I got to do today, a lot of digging. Good exercise. That pumpkin is still green for the most part. It's turning really slow, but I don't know. Oh, it might not turn orange for us. It's gotten too cold. Just digging, digging, digging. Lots of digging today. Well, it was sunny. It's pretty nice out. It's like probably 65 right now. It's probably gonna heat up to about 70. Finally warm enough. I put this off for 2 weeks and then it got too cold for me to do. But I need to put another coat of that clear coat. You can still see it's nice and dark right here because the sun and the weather doesn't wear the clear coat off. But you see it's a lot lighter here. So I was planning on doing it every 2 years, and we did it last year. But maybe if I put this second layer on, it'll last 2 years. But if I have to, I'll just do it every year. Because if you don't do it, you get like mold and gray, and then the wood will turn gray and moldy, and it'll cut the lifespan of your cabin down by a lot. Man, I hate making videos down here by the road. I usually don't have much traffic, but in fall, the most traffic we get of the year is in the fall. We get some fishing traffic at the beginning of summer too, but the hunting traffic is a lot more traffic than the fishing traffic. But anyways, I'm gonna put a coat on this side, the other side, and on the back side. And maybe I'll put a coat right here too. Do a second coat there, or it's first coat for this year. You don't want to do 2 coats of that at a time either, because once you put the first coat on, it'll just make the second coat bead up and run. It won't soak in. So I'll see when I test it. It might not soak in right now because it might still have enough on there from last year that it won't soak in, and then I won't be painting it. But I have a feeling with how light that is, it looks like it's pretty porous already, and it should accept that the oils that are in that, because that clear coat isn't a paint. It's more like an oil mixture, and the wood soaks it in and it preserves the wood. It's not like a paint. Once it gets to the point where it's turning gray and this oil won't really work, then I might have to start staining and painting it. It also has some stuff in it too to block UV ray, like stain. Because if you put stain on here, that'll block a lot of the sun. And obviously if you stain it, it will maintain that one color. But I like the clear coat. I like the color of the wood, so I'll go with clear coat. So I'm going to get to it. Hopefully it stays warm enough that I can work that stuff. Well, I don't know if you can really tell. The sun's going down over there. These trees are turning crazy colors today. Can you see? I don't know, the sun's pretty bad. You really can't tell. But they're pretty much matching colors now. I managed to get the entire cabin painted or clear coated with one layer. And I still have a little left in that can. I probably have enough to do the porch there, which I might do at some point, but I gotta let it dry off because it's kind of wet, so I can sweep it, and then I'll do that. This side's still all wet. Kind of see it glossing there. I got the whole cabin done. So once a year, do the whole cabin with one of those cans, and they're like 16 bucks or 17 bucks a can. So that's not bad, and they didn't use any treated lumber on here, so I might even go through and try to get under there and try to hit it with something. They actually make this green stuff that's kind of like what's on pressure treated wood, and it's kind of like a pressure treated stuff. It's like a treatment that's not pressure treated. It's just paint on treatment. It's green, so it basically makes it look like pressure treated wood. But I might get some of that actually from the hardware store and then climb under there and get as much as I can with that, because they didn't use treated boards underneath on like the floor runner here, like the floor corner boards. Yeah, they didn't use, the Amish guys who built this didn't use any pressure treated wood there. So yeah, that's gonna be the first place to rot off of this thing. You probably only get 5 to 10 years out of that. And the way that the building's built, it'd be really hard to replace those boards. I don't know how you would. I don't think you could. So yeah, if I ever got one of these buildings made by them again, I would definitely tell them to use pressure treated on the floor. That'll add like 15 years to your building. So it's something to consider. Something I'm gonna have to think about. You know, in the next couple years, I'm gonna have to definitely build a building that has pressure treated wood under there, because I won't be able to count on this one for more than like 5 or 6 years. After that, you know, it probably get problematic under there. Yeah, it's all clear coated. She looks beautiful. She's got that really nice rich golden color, which I love it. When it has a fresh coat of that oil on it, it just looks so beautiful. That took me all day. I'm starving, haven't eaten all day, so it's like 5 o'clock. I'm gonna go and cook some brats and some beans, I think. Brats and beans. Yeah, I guess brats and beans today is what I'm gonna do. Mission accomplished. That's one of the things off the checklist for the fall checklist. Done. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was a raccoon because they took down the rest of that corn. But that right there is a little mouse baiting station. I've had really bad problems with the mice. They were destroying my car. They got in there and they were all under the hood, like 40 of them. I've killed over 40 of them in the car. So yeah, it was a bad mouse problem. But I have one sitting there, and then I had one under the porch over here. And last night something was getting into it. And I was too lazy to come out here because it's usually just the raccoon. He's been messing with it over the last couple weeks. But the second one is gone now. And I just looked around the whole yard and can't find it. So the damn raccoon took it. But last night when I heard stuff moving around, it actually sounded like it was bigger than a raccoon that was out here. It might have been a coyote and it might have been a bear. I don't see any signs of bear though. They kind of leave some tracks and stuff usually. But yeah, I guess I gotta go searching for this thing. Who knows where they brought it? If it was the raccoon, he probably didn't bring it far because it's pretty heavy for a raccoon to carry around. But if it was a bear, it might be miles away from the house right now. Who knows? But that sucks because they're $15 a piece. And I really need them because the mice are out of control this year. It was a drought year, super dry. And for some reason that promoted a lot of mice. So I guess I got to get dressed, go to the bathroom, get dressed, and then I got to go head out and look for this damn mouse baiting station. Oh, look, some trees turning. All right, there's some birds in the driveway. These things are getting huge. These are, I'm pretty sure these are the exact group of grouse that we saw when they were babies. There they are right there. There's one male and 3 females. They're used to me. I can probably get off the porch or walk over to them. They've seen me quite a bit ever since they were chicks. I got a video of them in the tree with their mother bird. But the mother bird abandoned them a long time ago. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the mother bird with them since July. And there should be 3 females. But the coyotes have been moving through the area lately. Oh yeah, there's one back there. There's one back there in the driveway too. When do you guys get got by the coyotes? Oh, I see another one way down the driveway. There's still 4 females and a male. Yeah, these are the same birds. These were chicks this year. You see how big they're getting. They're super used to me though. When they were babies, I scared them into a tree and went right up to them. So they've like seen me. They've seen me at least once a week pretty much since they were babies. But they do a circle around my property that takes them about 2 or 3 days. And they go all the way over into the neighbor's property and then around and then up through the top of my property. And then they go through the swamp and then they come back right out here in the driveway. And it's about a 3 or 4 day thing. See, she's like seeing how close she can get. They're not scared of me anymore. But these are spruce grouse, not rough grouse. And spruce grouse are already not really that scared of humans, especially in Maine. In Maine, you're not allowed to hunt them. I'm not sure if you're allowed to hunt them in any other U.S. state. I don't know if they actually exist in any other U.S. state, but I would think that they would have them in Montana. Try to make the noise that they make. It seems to calm them down. What are you guys even eating? Ants or something? All the birds are always eating stuff out of the driveway, but when I go to look at the driveway, I can't see anything. So maybe it's just grass seed, and it's just small, and it's not something that I'm noticing. I thought it was ants, but They don't seem to, I don't see any ants, so. Oh man, that fourth bird is actually a robin down there. Did you guys lose one of your crew to the coyotes this week? I know, they're a bunch of assholes. There's like a pack of coyotes on the property right now, and it sounds like there's like 10 to 12 adult coyotes, but then it sounds like there's like 40 babies. Like when they're yelping to each other, it sounds like there's like just dozens of them. What was that you're doing there? Oh yeah? Psh, freaks. You just scared the male. He thought something was going down. Little weirdos. It's just me. I'm not gonna hurt you. Yeah, my neighbors say that, I mean, you can't hunt these anyways, it's illegal to hunt them, but one of my neighbors said that he has eaten one once, and he said they just taste like spruce, because they eat a lot of spruce needles, or spruce bark, or something, I guess. I guess that's why they call them spruce grouse. But they look a lot like a ruffed grouse, so I have a lot of spruce grouse on my property this year, so I'm going to have to be really careful when hunting the ruffed grouse. Oh yeah, they're cool. I see them a lot. Look at that male. Male's like black and white. Pretty much black and white with a little red above his eye. It's pretty sweet. Alright, I got work to do. Stop messing with the grouse. Well, I was looking all over the open parts of the yard, but I saw some corn over here. Yeah. Some corn. That was some corn that actually came from the store but went bad before I ate it, which sucks. There's a caterpillar in it, like messing it all up, so it was all like moldy and gross when I went to go eat it. So I put it out for the raccoon. There's the mouse baiting station that he took off with. So yeah, it's definitely the raccoon. I think he sees the mice running in and out of it, and he gets like asphyxiated on it, like fixated on it, like he's like can't stop watching the mice, and he tries catching the mice, but you know the mice are really fast for the raccoon. So I think at some point he just starts like moving it around the property trying to catch mice with it or something. Or maybe he smells the bait that's in it and he's trying to get to that, but I don't think he is. I think he is seeing the mice coming in and out of it, and he's trying to figure out what's going on and why they're doing that. You know, raccoons are pretty smart. But he ate that corn, and I gotta go and grab that and then put that back in its spot. I'm probably gonna have to drill a couple holes in these things and then run a thin metal cable around the cabin, around the inside, the bottom of the cabin, through those things, so then the animals can't take off with it. I probably should have done that to begin with, but out here it's a forest, so there's a lot of animals, and they all want the food, so that's why we bought those things. Has a small opening. The only thing that can really comfortably get in there and eat that poison is mice, rats, and sadly the chipmunks can get in there, which we're not trying to target the chipmunks, but sometimes they get in there. Yeah, so that's supposed to keep all the other animals out of it, but you know, when you use poison like that, you can potentially poison other animals, so that's why I usually don't like using that. But we had like, I've killed over 40 mice so far in and around my car, and they ruin the whole air duct system, so I have to get the mice under control, and I have to get them to a point where they're not going in the car anymore, because it's costing me a lot of money repairing that stuff. Yeah, and if they get into the wiring, I don't even know how to repair that stuff, so that would cost a lot of money, so I can't let that happen. Damn mice. I'm at war with these mice, actually. It's like the only stress I really have out here. Little bastards. I gotta go set that back up. Leaves are changing. The cabin looks beautiful. Leaves are yellow and orange. Gardens are empty. And it still has only hardly rain. Like, I don't even have water in my barrels. So I wasn't planning on cracking the well back open, but I'm probably gonna have to go and grab 10 gallons of water out of there, because there isn't even water in my barrels, which is pretty unusual for fall. We should have gotten a couple rains by now. Crazy weather. Crazy year, 2020. It's like the end of September right now. Just out here is, the cabin's just past there, but this trail right here is got a lot of vines. It makes it look like a really thick jungle in here. Still got some maples behind us that look really epic. Just hold this log up. This was a dead elm that I cut earlier this year, but I was using the bow saw and I didn't want to try to cut the bigger wood, so I left it leaning against a tree so it would dry. So pulled that out. Probably have to cut it in half to get it in the sled. I'm just out here looking for all the firewood that I left in the woods this spring. When I was cutting stuff, I didn't come back and get all of it out of here yet. So we're gonna go down here. It's just around the corner here. There's like a bunch of 4-foot logs all stacked up, and then a bunch of like smaller stuff I never cut down. So I'm gonna go in there and see what's up. Look at these trees though. It is epic out here right now. Such a nice time of the year to be out in the woods. Some of these big trees though, I gotta get a big saw for, because a couple of these big maples need to come down because they're about at the end of their life. And they're just gonna fall down soon anyways and start rotting in the middle. So it'd be nice to get that firewood from an older tree, and then the younger trees around it will just fill in that spot. I have a lot of maples out here. So it's all the small diameter treetop stuff. Got a sled full. It's a bitch hauling it with no snow. This is the wood lot, and you can see where I cut all those trees out last year. A lot of the meadow grass came back, and so far there's no trees coming back, and the maples that are in the wet areas didn't sprout off again. It didn't shoot shoots, so that's interesting. If I cut these maples back, I'll probably get a lot of this meadow back. And this land out here probably would be nicer as meadow, but this is my wood lot, so I have to kind of manage these trees. Like those trees right there, I'll keep trees that are like that size, and then we'll cut them when they're about this size. And then all the older ones, like this is a real old one right here. There's kind of an old one in there, and then there's an old one right here, leaning right here. And they have young ones all around them, so I'll come and cut all these old ones out and turn those into firewood, and then let the other ones grow up. But some of this meadow out here we're gonna just open up, and we'll turn even the smaller trees into firewood and get the brush moved out of here so it can be a clear meadow for the animals to roll through. Because 60, 70 years ago this was a clear meadow. I'm not sure what did it, but the old man who lives down the road, he's 86. He says that when he was younger, he was a kid, he used to do hay meadow out here, meadow hay. And he said that this was all meadow you could see all the way down to the brook from here, which obviously it's all maple trees now. The oldest ones are probably like 50 or 60 years old. But I'm not sure what happened. At some point the maples just started taking old, and now it's all swamp maple down here. Probably swamp maple wasn't around over here, and then it was introduced at some point, and they just took over. A lot of these trees are only like, 20 years old. But yeah, this is my wood lot, so I'm trying to clean it up and make it look nice so the animals can move through here and so it's good hunting. But I'm also trying to manage the wood in a way where I'll have wood forever out in this part of the property. It's like almost 40 acres of maple, and there's like a couple brooks meandering through here, and there's the Maine brook is like, I don't know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 yards in that direction. Yeah, so it's nice out here, especially when the leaves are changing. But this is the wood lot, so we'll be cutting down here a lot in the next 3 weeks. That's what I have left from the garden. Some table queen, couple tomatoes, cabbage that I just cut today. Some caterpillars and slugs were on it. There's one more butternut, and then that's the sweet pumpkin, the Amish pumpkin for pumpkin pie, which I don't know if I'm going to ever do that. But I got one of the other butternut. This is one of the smaller butternuts. The whole thing's in there. So I got a butternut squash going, put some butter on that and smush it up, and that's what I'm going to have today for lunch. Just cutting wood out there. Got the power charging. So there we are, but the texture of this is perfect. I think I let the other ones go too long. This one still had a little bit of green striping on it. It was pretty much all changed, but with light green striping. And the other ones I let go all the way until there was no green striping. And when I was a kid, my mom used to make this stuff all the time, like on Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything. We always had butternut squash, and it always had this texture. It had like this texture right here. If you let it go a little bit longer, it gets more of a mealy, like mushy texture, and it's like smooth, kind of like frozen. Reminds me of the frozen squash that they used to have in those little blocks. When I was a kid, my mom used to feed us that sometimes too, which we didn't really like that. The texture isn't nice. Like this has like a really veggie type texture. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but this was a perfect squash. I'm super excited. Another 2 weeks, all these trees will be bare. This part of the section, this part of the property will look totally different. There's all kinds of birds flying around. You got some nice leaf changeover and some leaves on the ground. Once all these leaves fall too, I'll mow the whole thing one more time with the lawnmower. I think I see a grouse. You're not gonna be able to see him, he's in there. This male grouse is always hanging out. This is like his area. But this little driveway area that's all overgrown and nice and lush will be bare bones in another week. Man, the trees down at the road look crazy. Although the sun's going down, so it's kind of dark. Like sun nuts over there. It's crazy. It's pretty much dark. Some truck just stopped in front of the house. All sketchy. Hate when they do that. Might just be guys up hunting, looking for a place to pull off for the night. There's some good dirt roads down the road though, so I don't know why they always like check out these roads over here that are close to town or close to people living. Not really town, but this is where people are living right in the next 2 miles here. Yeah, sun's going down. Packing in for the night. Sun is up. Got my long barrel shotgun. It is September 26, 2020, and today is the first day of grouse season, which is one of my favorite seasons. I'm not sure that I'm actually up for shooting and processing a bird today. I have some brats and some other meat in the cooler still that I have to eat in the next couple days before I go to store. But I don't know, a couple days ago I saw a grouse that was bigger than a house chicken. That was a spruce grouse, but which you can't hunt. But I've seen a lot of really big rough grouse in the woods lately too, and if I see one that's around house chicken size, then I'll shoot it and I'll process it down. You know, if it's big like that, then it's worth putting in the cooler. If they're just small, then it's better just to, the small ones I don't really like keeping on ice. I guess there's no good reason for that, but usually if I shoot small ones, I'll process them and cook them up right that day. But yeah, I want to get out here on opening day at least. I know there's a lot of grouse out here, so we'll at least go and check them out and do some hunting. Hunting isn't always about killing. Hunting is about getting close to the animals, and for me it's about knowing that I can get to the animals if I do need food, that I can get to them and that I know where they're at. That's what hunting is for me for the most part, because the store provides plenty of food, so I don't need to kill, I don't need to kill the 4 birds. I have a bag limit of 4 birds a day. I would never go out there and shoot 4 grouse a day unless I had a freezer and I was packing it for the winter. But you're only supposed to be in possession of 8 grouse at a time, so that's basically 2 days that you can shoot 4 birds, and then you have to start eating them because you can only put 8 of them in the freezer at a time. But if I had a freezer and I was getting ready for winter, then I would make sure that there was 8 of them in there at any point in the season. But yeah, anyways, it's about 7:45. I'm getting an hour. I'm running an hour later than I wanted to, but as long as you get in the woods before it gets warm, and it's actually been warm the last couple days. It was freezing cold for a week, but the last 2 days has been warm, and it seems like it's going to be another warm day. So the grouse will be moving and collecting bugs until about noon, and then they'll kind of hunker down for the day, and then in the evening they'll come back out and start hunting for birds again. So let's get out there and see some grouse. Alright, we're out back here in my field. This is Camp 1. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's where we were set up with the canvas tent when we first got out here. Look at the trees, so beautiful. But right here is some really nice deciduous tree area here. It's like this gray birch, and the grouse like to hide in here. They like to hide in here. And then pretty much this whole road leads to my neighbor's yard, and the back of his property there is some of the best hunting. He wants to cut those trees at some point, but I gotta try to convince him not to, because that's the best hunting around here, is on that part of his property. And if he cuts that stand of spruce down that are in there, it won't be the best part of hunting anymore. Plus it's like leaves a buffer zone between my property and his property, which is nice. But I'm gonna keep hoofing out there. I'll bring you guys out if I see anything. Alright, there was just one right here. He heard me before I saw him. He took off. He's in the trees up here. But I heard a couple more over here. So let's go see if I can see what tree he took off into. See how big he is. Well, a couple hours later, I went for a nice walk in the woods. Didn't see anything after I jumped those 2 birds, and I couldn't find where they flew off to. I barely even got a look at them. They were rough grouse, but I barely got a look at them. Once they started flying, I couldn't keep track of where they went because it was so thick over there. What I really saw on my walk was a lot of my hunting trails have trees falling over them. So I'm going to get some breakfast real quick, and then I'm going to grab the bow saw, and then I'm going to go clear all my hunting trails. That's one good thing about grouse season, is you end up going and walking all your hunting trails before deer season. So then you can get the saw out there and make a little noise in the woods well before deer season starts. Get that all cleared up so when deer season comes, you're not making any noise in the woods. You don't want to be running a saw or sawing anything the days before you're going to be hunting an area, because that might scare big bucks away. Might keep all those big deer hiding in the woods, or they hide in the swampland on my property. There's an area on my property where the coyotes can't even chase them because it's just such rough walking. But the deer and the moose are tall enough off of the ground where they can kind of get through the muck over there. So a lot of them hide over there during the day and during the whole summer pretty much, especially on this year was a dry summer, so there are definitely a lot of them over there right now. That's the best place for them to hang out when it's really dry. Tons of coyotes. Last couple nights I've been hearing packs of coyotes go through, and it sounds like there's over a dozen adult coyotes in the pack. But when the adult coyotes start howling, all the little baby coyotes start yipping. They make a yipping noise. And they're all generalized in this one area. This must be a den over there, but it sounds like there's like 40, 50 baby coyotes at that den. When they're yipping, it sounds like there's a dog pound over there, which is crazy. I've never heard that many coyotes at once. Sounds like they're living over on Joe's property. He's getting ready to open a chicken farm next year, so we're going to have to start trapping coyotes because otherwise they're just going to cause him so much pain and anguish. Alright, well, I'm going to get some stuff done today, and we'll go back out hunting for grouse tonight when the sun starts going down. Man, the trees look so crazy right now. Right out the window. The garden's dead, though. Sun's going down. Pretty much down. Leaves are gonna fall over the next 2 days though. It's like 80 degrees today. End of September. Crazy. Man, trees look crazy when the sun's going down. Really see the crazy colors. Nuts. Pumpkin's turning orange finally, and a bird took a crap on it. But I pretty much got this dug up all around, and when I hit it with a sledgehammer, it does move a little bit and shake a little dirt, but for the most part, it still doesn't move at all. See, pretty much no play in it. So I rinsed all the roots back with a couple 5-gallon buckets because the dirt on it will keep them from burning. So I got as much sand and dirt out of the top of the roots there. And it's too windy today, so we're not gonna have a fire tonight, but I have this all ready now, and we're gonna start a fire on this side of it, and either slowly work the fire around, or maybe I'll just put a really big fire on one side and let it get burning. And if I have to, I'll move the fire all the way around it. But we're gonna have to burn it down below ground level, and then I can fill this hole back in. It'll be nice and smooth right here. If I try to keep digging it, I'm gonna be digging for a long time. These maples throw down like a taproot right in the middle that goes down really deep and spreads out. So I'll be digging for way too long. I mean, I'm kind of close. Probably only a couple more days of digging, but I have some debris that I've collected now. But the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing crazy. I'm tripping over roots here. Everything is starting to die, but the wind is taking all of these leaves off the trees. So I figured I'd pull the camera out, get some pictures of the cabin with some of the fall changeover. But it's like another couple windy days, these trees will be bare. Well, that's good for cutting firewood. We'll get back to cutting green firewood once that happens. But man, this camp looks so beautiful in the fall. Having a good time out here. Starting to get quiet now that winter's coming. There'll be some hunter traffic on the road with some hunters coming in and out the next couple months, and then it will get really quiet once the snow starts. But next mission is burn this thing out. And yeah, we're gonna go and take a bunch of the water bins tomorrow off of the shed too, because we don't need them back there anymore. And we'll clean them all out and put them in the shed for the winter. I guess this wasn't a good place for this pumpkin. Had it sitting on the stump that it grew next to. It's pretty much all done. I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, that's all mushy. I only cut it like a week ago. But I guess sitting in the sun on that stump is maybe a bad spot, and maybe some bugs got in there, I don't know. I want to grab a 12 gauge at some point and blow that thing to pieces. I wish it wasn't so windy. I can start this fire up. Man, it looks beautiful out here. Beautiful little cabin.